Jules, this is Ryan. Lives on an airplane that's been hijacked. If things don't go well and it's not looking good, I just want you to know I absolutely love you. I want you to do good. So have a good time. Same to my parents and everybody. And I just totally love you, and I'll see you later, After. Bye, babe.
Today we've had a national tragedy. Two airplanes have crashed into the World Trade Center in an apparent terrorist attack on our country.
Before September 11th, 2001, Americans worried about different things. Some believed that technology would fail when the year 2000 began. Others questioned if their votes in the 2000 election really counted. And even though the Cold War had ended, people still feared nuclear threats. But everything changed in one morning. After 9/11, fear in America took a new shape. Travel changed forever. The government created new laws to track possible threats. Hate crimes against Muslims increased. News stations ran stories about terrorism non-stop. And the country itself became more divided. This documentary will explore how American anxiety changed before and after 9/11. We'll look at what people worried about before, how fear took over after the attacks, and how it still affects the country today. This is how one day changed America, shaping our fears, our rules, and the way we live even now.
Before 9/11, anxiety was mostly based on the 2000 election, the Y2K bug, and Cold War fears and domestic issues. The 2000 elections between Al Gore and George W. Bush, and the election raised concerns for fairness of the electoral process, being that the race was so close. Another major anxiety during the time was the Y2K bug.
People feared that a computer glitch would crash global systems, leading to power outages, financial collapse, and chaos. In the end, nothing happened, but the widespread panic showed how vulnerable people felt to unseen technological threats.
This chart shows anxiety levels before 9/11, showing the impact it had on people during the time.
Even though the Cold War had officially ended, its effects hadn't completely disappeared. For decades, Americans have been taught to fear nuclear war, and that lingering anxiety hadn't fully gone away. On the morning of September 11, 2001, life in America changed in an instant. At 8:46 a.m., American Airlines Flight 11 crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. Minutes later, another plane struck the South Tower. A third plane hit the Pentagon, and a fourth, Flight 93, crashed in Pennsylvania after passengers fought back. Nearly 3,000 lives were lost. People were scared that another attack could happen at any moment. The government responded swiftly. Within weeks, the Patriot Act was passed, greatly expanding surveillance powers. Airports tightened security. The country had entered a new era, one where safety often came at the cost of personal privacy. In the years that followed, 9/11 changed nearly every part of American life. Air travel became stricter. Passengers now had to remove their shoes, limit their liquids, and go through intense security screenings. The Department of Homeland Security was created to prevent future attacks. Surveillance increased dramatically. Phone calls, emails, and online activity were monitored in ways that would have been unthinkable before 9/11. But the changes weren't just political. The emotional and psychological impact of 9/11 ran deep. PTSD, anxiety, and depression became more common, not just among survivors, but across the general population. Many Americans no longer felt safe in public spaces, and the fear of another attack always seemed to be in the background. Another lasting effect of 9/11 was the rise of Islamophobia. Hate crimes against Muslim Americans skyrocketed in the aftermath, and racial profiling became common in airports and public spaces. Many innocent people faced discrimination simply because of their religion or background. Even today, these fears and stereotypes still exist in parts of American society. After 9/11, fear was not just about terrorism. It spread into everyday interactions. People became more suspicious of strangers. If someone left a bag unattended, it was seen as a possible bomb threat. News reports kept warning of future attacks, which made fear a constant part of life. The phrase, "see something, say something," became a common message, reminding people to always be alert. But living in a state of fear came with consequences. Many innocent people were wrongly accused just because of how they looked or where they were from. Trust between people changed, and in some ways, that fear never really went away. After 9/11, the media played a big role in keeping fear alive. News channels showed the attacks over and over again, making it feel like the danger was always present. The government even introduced a terror alert system, warning people of possible future attacks. Movies and TV shows also started focusing on terrorism. This kept the fear alive, making people feel like another attack could happen at any time. After 9/11, there was a lot more patriotism in the US. People flew flags outside their homes and military enlistment increased. Many Americans felt a strong sense of unity and wanted justice. But over time, this led to deep political divides. Some supported the war on terror, while others felt like it was unnecessary. New laws were passed that gave the government more control over personal freedoms. The effects of these debates are still seen today. The impact of 9/11 was not just about security. It also changed the economy. The stock market crashed when it reopened, losing billions of dollars. Many businesses near Ground Zero were also destroyed. Air travel also suffered. People were scared to fly, and airlines lost millions of dollars. Even gas prices went up because of fears about global stability. Even though 9/11 happened over 20 years ago, its effects are still felt today. Airports still have strict security rules. People have to remove their shoes, go through full body scanners, and follow limits on what they can carry. Surveillance has also increased. The government tracks more phone calls, emails, and online activity than ever before, all in the name of preventing terrorism. Every year, Americans remember 9/11 with moments of silence and events honoring the victims. It remains a day that changed the country forever. After 9/11, the issues that once seemed important, like the Y2K scare or the 2000 election, felt small in comparison. The attacks took nearly 3,000 lives and left thousands more with lifelong trauma. But beyond the immediate impact, 9/11 changed how Americans experience fear. National security became the top priority, privacy was sacrificed for safety, and the way people viewed the world and each other was never the same again. Today, we have to ask ourselves, did 9/11 permanently change the way Americans live in fear? Or have we simply found new anxieties to replace the old ones?